Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for your time. I'm going to go over my innovative idea and then also talk about my website. So let's go ahead and get started. The design thinking process is a 5-step process. It starts with emphasize. Emphasize is where you actually conduct conversations from your users to really gather what the issue is. Once you move from there, you're going to define that problem or issue. That's what you're looking for. Then you transition to ideate, which is once you've figured out what your problem is, you need to focus on research on different solutions to that problem, right? We need to address that. Once you find out and research what it is, you're going to develop a prototype. The prototype is something that you create that can address the issue that's interactive. You want hands-on. You want something to be used, and now you move into test, right? That's that 5th step. Test is where you are delivering your prototype to your users to see if it will effectively address the issue they're having. That's key. With my communication related problem, and based off my users, the company has issues around giving credit to the wrong sales rep for closing deals. This causes internal battles of who will get paid based on the work that each sales reps did. Sometimes the outcome isn't correct, and people are looking to leave to different sales organizations or companies as if the issue continues. We don't want to lose our top sales reps, right? So we need to address this issue and make sure they're happy and that they're getting their accurate pay, right? So how did I leverage this process, right? So the first step gave me the ability to connect with my users to find those pain points, right? They wanted to get their commission checks. They're working hard. They're closing their deals. So once I was able to ask questions and it got me to define the problem. The problem is what I stated on that last slide, right? Once I was able to define that problem, I was able to then move to the 3rd step, which is do my research different solutions and find a prototype that I can deliver to my users, which is that next 4th step. So after I did my research, I was able to find a solid solution to the problem. I leveraged the dial source software, which automates the process of calls and deal closures, right? That's going to fix the problem of who owns what deal and get them paid. That's what we're looking for. Once I develop that prototype, I want to test it. I want to make sure my users feel comfortable, hands-on, interactive, so that I can determine if this software is the right choice or if it needs improvements, right? I'm going to get feedback from my users. That's how I leverage the 5 steps to get to where I am today. So now that the solution has actually been tested and developed, there's still some ongoing questions, and I'm going to go ahead and state those here. Does the operations sales staff understand how to address and research a claim dispute? What happens if the operations sales team still feels it's not the original sales rep and there's escalation? We need to make sure that we're addressing step by step. Are we able to customize dial source software to our needs if other issues come back? Why leverage different tools, right? If dial source can even fix another issue, why not, right? Can this solution be deployed worldwide, or are there restrictions? Some countries have some mandated restrictions that we might not be able to get in there. So dial source will have to understand if we can or cannot. And lastly, is there's a support system for dial source for the users? We need some sort of customer service line. If my users need help ASAP to understand how to get to the next level, they need to have a number to call. And I think that is a great question. So as I talked with my users, I really wanted to make sure that I'm addressing all their original questions and their concerns and what the challenges were. So I have 3 pages of questionnaire. I'm going to go over a few and go over how I was able to address it. So the reps that get credit for the deals are they in the same geographic area? Based off of Chuck, sometimes they are, but there has been instances which there are not. This software defines who your leads are or your customers, and you're stuck based off of that, right? That's how you define who you're going to work with and what deals you're going to close. At what point do you realize credit did not flow correctly? Chuck also said, once we see our check is the first step, and then we have a program which tells us if the other order credit flowed into who. This software already is going to tell you that you're going to rep. You're going to receive an email telling you that it was a confirmation that's your opportunity and your closed deal, and you're going to get paid and how much. Is there a manual process claim, and how does that work? There is. So Danielle was saying that we have to give evidence that we ran a deal closure and to the other rep. The process, the flow to management, and management has to submit. Sale with dial source, you have the ability to take that on as yourself as a rep to make sure that they are addressing your pay. Is there an issue only in the inside sales, or is there field problems as well? So Chuck was saying from his understanding, it's company wide, right? So I know we talked about the addressing of making it worldwide. We're going to focus on the US portion of it, but it looks like it's happening on the field and the inside sales. But we can address that with dial source. What is your overall feel once you see this issue come about? Danielle was saying that they are stressed because it takes time to get it all worked out. She goes, this is my money, and it's hard to know that you might not get paid on the deal you worked, or it could take time until next month to get your commission check. And that's just not right, right? This process needs to be fixed. And Dial Source now addresses that problem, and you know how much you get paid and when your deal gets closed. Just a couple more questions here. Have you ever pushed back and still didn't get any credit? Yes. Danielle says, and we get the answer that it wasn't in our geo. You now know what deals are yours and what's going to be associated with you. And then, do you have any thoughts on how the process can be changed? You know, they've suggested a few to management, Chuck said, and it just takes time and it might not work for a worldwide company. Well, this dial source might not work for the worldwide yet. That's a great question to ask them. But in the US, it's been addressed and we're able to take on that challenge. Okay. So I'm going to reflect on what I learned through this process, right? The design thinking process gave me the ability to construct a solution for an ongoing issue my company has. It's going to fix that problem. This process gave me the ability to think outside the box with different solutions. I'm not just focusing on one. This was just the best one of many that I found. The steps putting into perspective gave that you cannot develop a solution without putting input from your users, right? Users are key. If you don't know what they're having problems with, you're never going to be able to define your problem. Working with your users give you a better evaluation of how your prototype really will play out. Yeah, because I need their feedback. We need this feedback, and that falls into the next one, right? The shadowing, the interviewing, I have to do that. That's imperative to be able to develop a prototype, to test it, and deploy it. The prototype that I present to my users seemed to be the ideal solution, but cost could be a factor. You know, with a large company, there's a lot of users, right? So it'll have to be defined if this is going to be a cost-effective way. I believe it is, but that'll be up to the company to decide. This process and project has given me the ability to produce a solution for a large company problem. Without this process, I do not believe I would be able to think of the different elements to create the solution. Perfect, right? Now I want to go over my website, right? It's 6 pages. I started with the first page saying challenging sales process. So it could be with the users that I already have, or even sales organizations outside of my large company can look at this front page and go, wait, we do have a challenging sales process. Let's continue. So we go to the second page and it defines the problem. It's bright. It shows like it's inside of a work environment, and it defines the problem that my users are having with the tool, not being able to provide them who their customers are based off their geo, and also how they can get paid on the deals that they close. We move into the third page, and the third page is the prototype. The prototype is the actual software that we're using, right? This website gives you this page, and they actually shift from left to right as the main user interface. You'll actually see how to use it and be able to take advantage of this prototype, which is Dial Source. As we continue, we look at the features and explanations, how they have intelligent screen pops or native reporting in Salesforce.com. It also defines specific percentages that show what the problems sales reps have today and how this solution could effectively change that for the better. We transition into my blog. My blog explains why the 5 stages are important to deliver a solution. It's ideal, and how we can get our users to stay and not lose how we can not lose top sales reps. I like to bring the attention to management, and I will, and hopefully they will adopt this program. My last page of the website is my citations. And then the citation